All right, guys, so welcome to Back to School Essentials with me, Nonna Gaby. It We have been back to school, even though we're not officially in school for quite some time, but I feel like with all the holidays, it's taken time to get into the fall groove. I know it has, especially for me. So I'm really excited because in this class, we're going to make a lot of recipes that you can make ahead of time. So if you're super busy, you can make them ahead either in the morning or the night before. And then you'll have come home to a nice dinner, or you can make them ahead and freeze them, which is really nice, especially the eggplant parm. And you can also do this with other vegetables, which I will tell you about when we make it. So we are going to start off with, well, I'll just reiterate the whole menu again, but we have a no muss, no fuss eggplant parmesan, sesame carrot fries, and parchment paper fish parcels. So you can also do this with chicken. It's a very, very easy way to prep your dinner. You could do that in the morning, and then when you get home, just pop it in the oven for a little bit, and then you'll have a yummy, delicious meal. And you can add some veggies to it, and we'll talk through that. And then also, since it is the fall and it is officially apple picking season, got some gorgeous apples to make some spelt apple flour galettes. So they will be very delicious. Spelt flour apple galettes. I got that mixed up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the carrots because they take the longest to cook. But in the meantime, I have my sauce on the stove. So it's just a 28-ounce can of tomato sauce. And I'm going to put it on for a simmer. And then I'm going to also add some, I don't even have a knife here. Okay, I'll go get a knife. I'm going to add some basil to it and some salt, and we'll mix it around. Okay, so since I don't have a knife right now, I'm just going to tear the basil in, which is totally appropriate, and we'll mix that in. I will go get a knife so I can cut these carrots because I won't be able to rip them. All right, got my knife. And so to the tomato sauce, I'm also going to add some oregano. And you don't really have to measure. You can just add a few shakes. And some salt. And some pepper. And then I'll give that a little stir. And that will simmer while we make our carrot fries. So we can then get our eggplant parmesan prepped. I'm just going to stir it. I might actually tear some more basil in because I love basil. And if you love basil, then go for it. So I have probably like 7 or 8 basil leaves in here. I'm going to just tearing them up. And this will all cook down nicely. Already smells great. So I got these beautiful carrots from the farmer's market, and I'm very excited to use them. And we're going to cut them into little carrot sticks. And I actually have right here, this looks like a coconut oil jar. It is a coconut oil jar, but there's no coconut oil in it. It is my stock starter. So I'm just going to trim the ends of the carrots and put them in here. And then when I want to make either a bone broth or a chicken stock or something, I have all the veggie bits to put inside. So I just trim the carrot ends and the carrot tops off to put in there. And that way I'll have stock to go. So all I need to do is if I have leftover chicken bones, or if I get bones from the butcher, put the bones and whatever's in this vegetable scrap bag, can or jar, in a pot with water and let it boil with some spices. So, all right, we got our carrots trimmed. And And now I'm gonna cut them into little fry shapes. So some of these are really small, so I'm just gonna cut them in half like this. But this is about the size that you want them, like a finger size. You see, my fingers are really small, so use your judgment. They can be bigger than my fingers, but I'm using my finger as a measurement. So just cutting them into fries. And sesame oil is actually a really great oil to make fries with, and it goes really well with carrots because it has a nice nutty flavor. But it's also, the reason it's great for making fries is because it has a really high smoke point, so you can cook with it at really high temperatures. We are going to be roasting these at 350 for now because all of our other things are going to cook at 350. Actually, you can preheat your oven to 400 because the fish will cook at 400. The eggplant parm will cook at 350. So it's an oven game, but these will be fine at 350 too. It's not such a, it'll just be a slower process, but they will be totally fine at 350. And these carrots are beautiful. Just gonna get some of this carrot hair off. Perfect. Alrighty. And then these are gonna go on my roasting pan. Bring my roasting pan here so you can see it, actually. So I'm just gonna arrange them nicely on here. Spread them out so that they are evenly coated and that they have space to roast. So what I like to do now when I roast veggies is I roast them with a neutral oil. So I know coconut oil is not really neutral, but because it has a strong flavor, but I really like roasting with coconut oil. But if you don't, avocado oil is great, or sesame oil is great. Sesame oil also has a bit of a stronger flavor. But I roast them just oil, nothing else, no salt, so they don't steam. And then I salt everything when it comes out of the oven. So I'm gonna drizzle about a tablespoon of sesame oil and give it a little shake. And then I'll check on them in a little bit, and then we'll sprinkle some sesame seeds on them more towards the end, so the sesame seeds get nice and toasted. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this in the oven. Super easy start, and then we'll get to working on our eggplant parmesan. So I have these lovely eggplants from the farmer's market. So these are a little bit skinnier than the ones that you might see in the grocery store, but it's kind of the end of the eggplant season, so they don't always have the fat ones, but I got these. These sometimes are known as Japanese eggplant. I'm just keeping an eye on my sauce here, but it looks like it's doing well. Just going to lower it a little bit. Just gonna keep an eye on it, but it looks lovely. So the way I'm going to cut these is, first of all, I'm going to cut the tops off, and then these can also go on my veggie stock bowl. And normally eggplant parmesan is breaded and then fried, and I decided to skip that step because I recently went to a restaurant with one of my friends, and they had a sort of eggplant parmesan dish that wasn't breaded. And I don't think they called it eggplant parmesan, but I was very intrigued by it because it was very delicious and very tasty. So I'm just going to cut the eggplant, especially the small ones, lengthwise into little slices. So like this. And so I have little slices of eggplant. And I have my baking dish here. So let me show you what I'm going to bake it in. Going to be baked in here, so they'll be arranged down here. So I'm just going to start adding these in here so I can see what the lay of the land is going to look like. All right, and this one is a little bit of a funnier shape, so need to be more careful. I'm chopping that one, and then I think I can get one more slice out of here. And you can also do this with zucchini when zucchini is in season. Or even some squash, other squashes. It's a new, cool, not new, but it's a cool, fun way to eat vegetables in a different form. Because, you know, we always roast it, but it's nice to have it. It's like a veggie lasagna, kind of. All right, so this one I'm going to go ahead and cut in half so I can have a nice layer. And then I'm just going to slice it again into long, thin pieces. So that will make the bottom layer, actually. And it doesn't have to be perfect. See, I arranged it like that. And then I'm going to sprinkle just a teeny bit of salt. And we're just going to layer it up. So I have with me some Parmesan cheese. Ooh, I need a cheese grater. I have some Parmesan cheese, and I have some mozzarella cheese, and I also have some fresh mozzarella cheese, and that will be the final topping. But before we do that, I'm going to turn this off for now, and then I'm going to grab a grater so I can grate some parm on this. And I also decided to get my hair out of my face. Okay, so I'm going to grate some Parmesan cheese. So normally you bread the eggplant with some Parmesan cheese as well. So the breading, and you could do this, and you could pre-grill the eggplant, but I'm going for the simpler, less dirty dishes route, and just for, you know, it's also a little bit healthier. So I'm going to spoon some of the sauce mixture over, probably a third of it, because we're going to have a couple of layers. And just spoon it over. And so we're just making like a sort of lasagna with this. That's basically what it is. And then it comes out like a baked casserole, sort of. I'm just careful not to get it on your table. All right, and now we're going to put some mozzarella cheese, the shredded mozzarella. So we'll have a layer of shredded mozzarella. And depending on how much cheese or cheese you don't like, you can decide how much goes on. I gave you amounts, but there's no rhyme or reason. Like, you can have more, you can have more cheese, you can have less cheese. Also, if you don't do dairy, you can use a Daiya cheese. You can substitute the parm with nutritional yeast. So many options. All right, so I got my second round of eggplant. And I'm going to arrange that in here. And then, oh, I might not even need to use this whole one, because I'm going to do, I just want to do 2 layers, because I won't have enough to do 3. So I'm going to cut enough for 2 layers of eggplant. And I will show you, and then I can eat the rest with something else tomorrow. But if you have enough, you can for sure make 3 layers. Squeeze that in there. And I have a long guy here. Squeezing the little bits of eggplant in. All right, now again, I'm just going to take a little bit of sprinkle of salt over the eggplant. And then we'll also have the Parmesan cheese, which that will salt it too. And it also is kind of like the breading. And so this will probably bake longer than normal eggplant Parmesan, because when you're making normal eggplant Parmesan, you're frying the eggplant first, right? So since we're not doing that, this will have to bake more, but it'll just get nice and oozy with all the sauce and cheese. Oh, you know what? You could do 3. Okay. I'm just, yeah. So I'm going to cover. So this is my top layer. If this is not your top layer, then you're going to reserve some of the sauce. But you don't, if it's the top layer, you want to make sure that there is no, oh, I forgot to put the mozzarella cheese. I think I forgot something. So I put, oh, no. I'm getting mixed up. Yeah. And then I put the mozzarella cheese on top. See, even I'm getting confused. All right. So we're going to pour. I think I'm going to need the rest of this. The sauce. And then it'll also, it's great because it all like cooks like a delicious casserole. So I'm spreading all the sauce on top. And then just creating a nice little flat surface and making sure it gets in all the little crannies. And then I'm going to, so now we're going to like go to town with all this cheese, right? Going to add some more mozzarella. And then if you'd like, you can add some fresh mozzarella slices on top, which I will do because I have some fresh mozzarella, and why not use it? So I have my regular, so it's going to be a nice cheesy crust. So this is already 2 dishes down, 2 to go, and I promise the next 2 are just as easy and simple. So I'm going to slice up my mozzarella. I love fresh mozzarella, and it also melts so nicely. So I'm just going to have some thin slices, and I'm just going to arrange it in a nice little pattern. I'll cut some more. I think I need maybe 2 more slices. Can have a little chef taste. Always good to taste your ingredients. Make sure you like them. Make sure they taste good. All right. And then I'll add some basil to garnish. I don't get fresh mozzarella that often, but when I do get it, I forget how much I love it. It's so yummy. And there's so much you can do with it. It's great on salads and pasta. So I'm going to also put some basil leaves just to make it look pretty. So I have a few of those. Or, you know what, I'm going to actually chiffonade them. So that just means taking them up like this. Ooh, I'll move this out of the way. Taking them all up, rolling it up like a sushi roll, and then placing it on your cutting board and slicing thin slices. Or you can just rip it, or you can leave them whole. But I'm going to sprinkle some because I like a little bit. I love a little basil, or actually, I love a lot of basil. So there it is, my no fuss, no muss, no fuss eggplant parmesan. Looks beautiful. It's going to go in the oven. And then we will get back to our fish. So I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to refrigerate the cheeses so we don't let them out. And then I'm going to get out the fish. So I will be back in a little bit. Actually, I'm going to work with the fish last. We're going to move on to our apple galettes. Oh, I need another little bowl. 1 second. Okay. So these apples also, they are from the farmer's market. They are amazing. So I'm going to use probably, they're pretty like huge. So I'll probably use 2 of them, and the rest we'll just look at. They're pretty. And I want to peel the skin off first, and then we're going to dice them. So let's see. I have made a bunch of apple desserts in my cooking life. And you know what? I wonder if these will be good. Probably be good in the stock too. It'll make a nice fall flavored stock. So you can put anything in the veggie scrap stock bin if you're keeping one. So potato peels, onion ends, apple peels, whatever you want. And it just is great because if you ever want to make veggie stock, a lot of people think it's a lot of effort, and it's really not, especially if you have this on hand. So if you ever have a rotisserie chicken and when you finish it, then you can throw that in a pot with the veggie scraps, peppercorns, bay leaves, some apple cider vinegar, any other fresh herbs, and just let it go for a few hours when you're doing laundry or cleaning the house. It really, really doesn't have to be a big effort. Because a lot of people, you know, they'll be like, oh, I have to chop the vegetables, I have to get this, I have to get that. But if you already have the scraps in the fridge or freezer, I keep it in the fridge because this fills up pretty quickly for me because I cook a lot. But if you don't cook that much, you can keep it in the freezer and it'll stay perfectly fine. And just do it that way. So it's a fun way to always have veggie stock around, especially. So you can also do this with just veggie. Like you don't even need the chicken part. You can just make a regular vegetable stock with all this, with all the veggie scraps. But especially since now it's getting colder and we're in the season of wanting soup and warm things all the time, it's great to have around. You can have a cup in the morning. That's what I do sometimes, or before dinner. If you're, you know, need a little warming drink that is very nutritious. So I'm just peeling my second apple. I'm almost done. This peeler is a little tricky, and then I'm going to cube it up and set it in its, well, I wanted to make the dough. Okay, it's fine. I'm doing things a little out of order today, but I intended to make the fish first, but then I realized I didn't want to get the board all fishy. Okay. And now I'm making this out of order, but it's okay. It doesn't matter because everything's going to come out great and taste delicious. So just coring the apple, and then I am going to cut this up into little cubes, about this big, and maybe a little bit smaller actually, since these are going to be mini. I'm making mini ones, but if you're making a larger one, you can cut them into larger cubes. So a galette basically is a pie dough that we make into a circle, and then you roll up the edges. So it looks and sounds fancy, but I promise you it is not. It is super easy, and I've made this with kids as young as 2 years old. So if they can do it, we can do it, right? So we are doing it. And this is a very simple one with not a lot of ingredients to go in the filling, not a lot of ingredients to go in the dough. So the main ingredients can really, really shine, which is the apples. And since they're in season and super fresh, they really don't need much. These are super tart and yummy apples from the farmer's market. I had a bite of one yesterday, and it was amazing. And look how much, I feel like one apple would be enough for the filling. I don't know if you can see, but my bowl is basically full. Very good. Okay. And then I'm going to, oh, sorry, just needed a paper towel. And then I'm going to cut this apple. So I have two different kinds. I forget which ones I got, but there were two different kinds of apples, and I wanted to experiment with them. So we have two here. So I think the mix will be nice. And then I'm just dicing them up. And then I like to put orange juice over my apples, and just so they don't brown, even though they will brown in the oven. Got a nice little apple mound here. Let's see. Okay, so that is that. And then I'm gonna squeeze some orange juice over the apples. And if you don't have, so I'm gonna use Ferment Orange because I don't typically keep orange juice in the house, just because it's not something I normally drink. But if you do, you can use that. But I always like the idea of fresh orange juice. So I'm gonna squeeze a whole orange over this. And this is a very juicy one. Ooh. And it's gonna just bring out the sweetness and also help. The citrus is gonna help break down the apples when they're in the oven. So the acidity of the orange helps. And if you don't have orange juice in the house or an orange, you can always use a lemon. That will help. I would just use half a lemon instead of a whole orange, or however much orange juice I recommended in the recipe. Ooh. So juicy. Get another paper towel. Okay, so I have that, and then I'm just going to sprinkle some nutmeg and some cinnamon to get that fall flavor, and a little teeny bit of, oh, and I also have cardamom here. I didn't put cardamom in the recipe, but then I saw it in my spice cabinet, and I thought that would be a nice touch. So I just put a little pinch of cardamom. If you have some cardamom, feel free to put some in, and then just a touch of vanilla. All right. And then I will mix it together with a spoon. Just let all those flavors melt together. While we make our dough. Oops. And should have gotten a bigger bowl. I didn't think I'd need one. All right, so that'll be set aside for now. And then I will we'll make the dough. So for the dough, I'm going to be using spelt flour. If you don't have spelt flour, don't stress. You can use oat flour instead, or regular flour, or gluten-free flour. And the trick I'm going to do now is, so let's say you're cutting wet ingredients and then you want to bake something. Just flip your cutting board over, and then you have a dry surface to work on. So that, and also this one is not, like my other surface has a little dent in it. So this is a cool way to not have to constantly clean your cutting board. It's just flip it over. All right, so I have my surface ready, have my flour already in the bowl, and then I'm going to use some cold butter, and we're gonna, you can either, so this is a cool trick that I like doing, but I just didn't feel like bringing out the food processor because I didn't want to clean it later. But if you have a food processor, it is much easier to do this with a food processor. You just put the butter and the flour in the food processor. And this is basically the start for most pie doughs, is you blend the butter, the flour, and I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt to this. The flour and the butter together, and then a ring. If you wear rings, I would suggest you do the same, unless you're doing this in the food processor. And then just, it's gonna become really crumbly. So you want all, I like doing this by hand. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I like doing this by hand because you can feel what the dough is going to be like. But having done this by hand for a while, the food processor definitely helps because it doesn't, you don't get your hands dirty and it's a little bit faster. But if you're like me and don't like using so many kitchen appliances, this is also great. Or if you don't have any. I didn't know if I have a little mini prep. If you have a larger if I had a larger food processor, and if you have a larger food processor, I would do it in the food processor because I just wasn't sure that it would all fit once the dough was made. So that would be more annoying to have it not all fit and then have to take it out. So we're just getting it all crumbly so the butter combines. But yes, as I said before, this is the start to most pie doughs, is just crumble the dry ingredients with butter. And then we're gonna add water and an egg and some apple cider vinegar. So that is it. So, and some sugar. So I'm gonna add the sugar now. See, this is the problem when your hands get dirty, but it's okay. Because I'm in my kitchen, you're in your kitchen, and we can get our hands dirty. So I'm gonna add some coconut sugar. And then mix that in with my hands. It's all becoming a nice crumbly mixture. And then what's going to bring it together is the water and the apple cider vinegar and the egg. So it'll turn into a nice little dough. All right, so you see how it's like crumbling in my hands? Like kind of, it sticks together, but it's not totally together. So that's what we're aiming for at this point. And then we're just gonna add, oops, sorry for that, some apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. That's good. And then an egg. And so the food processor is helpful because you don't have to get your hands all eggy, but I don't mind. All right. So, and then you also know with the food processor, like when it's all come together. All right, so this is looking a little sticky to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some more flour. So I'm just gonna mix it around. And now that the butter has been broken up, yeah, this looks like it. Once it doesn't, so in the food processor, you want it when it like doesn't stick to the sides anymore. So I think I need a little bit more flour just to soak up the rest. All right, and that looks good to me. So I don't even think I need to add any more water. So maybe, and then we're gonna put this in the fridge. So what you're gonna do is take some saran wrap same thing. So I'm going to take a little piece of saran wrap, place it on my cutting board, and spoon my dough mixture onto it. And the cool trick is if you don't want to use egg, you can use a 4th cup of applesauce instead. And this will be a really super like apple-y apple galette. And then I'm just going to place that in the fridge until we're ready to cook it. And then we're going to get cooking on our fish. So I will now get the fish out of the fridge while I put this in the fridge. And then I'll be right back. All right. So I have some beautiful flounder that I got at the farmer's market. And they're nice thin pieces, so they will cook up very quickly and nicely. And what I want to do is since we were using this for baking, I'm going to keep using this for baking because we're going to have to eventually roll out our dough. So I'm going to flip it back to the other side so we can use it for the other ingredients. And then in here, in this pan, I'm going to melt some butter for our fish. And you can use olive oil or ghee if you prefer. But I like butter. And then to that, I'm going to add some garlic, which I have somewhere here. Yep. So about a clove. I'll do. I have 2 here, but the way that these are going to get smashed, that's why I'm using 2. All right, and then I'm going to use my special garlic masher, which I love, love, love. Thank you, Mom, for that. So it's this little masher, and it's like a boat. So you just seesaw it over the garlic, and it mixes it for you, which is really nice. And keep doing that. And then I'm going to add it to here, to the butter mixture. Just stir that around. And you want to just cook this until it melts, pretty much. You don't want the garlic to brown, really. So I have some butter, garlic. I'm going to add some capers into that mix. Ugh, I don't want the juice, so much of the juice to go in, so I'm going to use a fork to add the capers. Oh, and it already smells good. So this is going to be our sauce for our fish. And then you can also add some pepper. And what else did I want to add? Oh, and then we're going to also cut some olives for our fish. And they can honestly go in the butter sauce too. Let's just make it easy for ourselves. So I'm going to slice a few olives. And these parchment paper fish parcels are so easy. It's like one meal in a little package, and you feel like you're opening a present. And it basically is a present because you made yourself dinner ahead of time. And all you have to do is like pop it in the oven. It's like those frozen TV dinners, except it's not frozen, so it's much better. And you eat it for yourself. So this is the new quick dinner that you can do. You can prep in advance. You can prep this in the morning if you like have time in the morning and making breakfast. You can do that then, and then when you get home, pop it in the oven 400. All right, so my stuff looks like it's cooking up a storm. I'm gonna put the olives in, and give it a final stir. And my garlic is very nice and fragrant. Ooh, and I forgot the lemon juice. That's what else needs to go in. So some lemon. Alright, where's my squeezer? Here it is. Yum. All right. Nice lemony butter facial. And then I'm going to slice the rest of this lemon. I'm going to take the seeds out because it's going to go on top of our fish. Let's see how I want to do this. I'll do it this way. Oh, not slicing. I'm slicing it this way. All right, so I have 3 lemon slices. Oops. And then I'm going to turn this off. The garlic is fragrant but not browning, which is just where we want it. All right, and I'm going to set my knife aside because I don't need that anymore. And this fork aside, get the apples out of the way so they don't get any fish juice on them. All right, and then I'm also going to prepare by having a plate out to put all the parcels on. So I cut some parchment paper pieces like this, and I'm going to place them down just long ways. So, and that's how I'm going to place the fish on it. So I'm going to put the fish on like this, and then I'm going to spoon some of the butter, olive, and caper lemon butter mixture over it. Oh, before that, I want to just salt it a little bit. So we're just going to salt and pepper our fish lightly. And then I have some thyme here and some parsley here, so we're going to put some of that in. Oh, and a fun thing, which maybe we'll do, I'll see how I'm feeling. So we're going to put the thyme, little piece of thyme, some parsley, and we're going to spoon over. So I have 3 fillets, so I'm going to spoon over a third of the mixture. Over. And then chew this if you wanted, and then I'm going to put one of the lemon slices on. And then chew this if you wanted. You could also add veggies. So in the past, I've added tomatoes. What else have I added? Broccoli, cauliflower, some sliced shallots. And then you see I have my fish like this. And I'm going to roll it down the middle so it seals the top. And then the ends, I'm going to twist together so that it looks like a little candy package. So there's one, and put it on a plate. And then you can keep these in the fridge on a plate if you'd like. Then I have my second piece. Put it on the cutting board. Get your fish on. Then some salt. Oops. Got a lot of ingredients here. Pepper. It's hard when the parchment rolls on itself, but you just got to get it to cooperate. Pepper, and then what else? I had some thyme, right? And then some of our other herbs. This time is like tied up. Let me unravel it. Alrighty. Love going to the farmer's market, but sometimes when you get herbs at the farmer's market, it can be a little unruly, but that makes it more fun and interesting, I think. All right, I'm just going to pull off some for our future ones. Okay, so I'll put about 2 sprigs of thyme in each one. You could put 1 in each, it doesn't matter. I love fresh herbs, so I can sometimes go a little herb crazy. And then a ton of parsley on, fresh parsley, and then another third of this mixture. And then my lemon half. And then again, you see, so I have it lengthwise, and I'm gonna roll it down the middle till I reach the fish. So let's fold it onto each other like a fruit roll-up kind of. And then twist the sides. And then these bake depending on the thickness of the fish. Let's see. At either 400 for either 15 minutes, but up to 30 minutes. So it depends how thick your fish is. My fish is really thin, so I think 15 minutes would be sufficient. Ooh, this is a really skinny one. Let's see if I can match it. Might need to cut a new piece. I will. Okay, so this last piece of parchment was no good. I need to cut a new piece. Okay, it's right here. And might be bigger than I need, but that's okay. Alrighty, so put that on. And then get my thyme. Oops, forgot the salt. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, some parsley, so we don't have to be super duper fancy with this. I just want a little bit more thyme. And then the rest of my mixture is just going to go all over the fish. Yum. Oops. So then I fold it. So if you're nervous about wrapping the parchment paper parcels, you can cut larger pieces of parchment paper than you think, because that'll be easier to work with, like folding it over like this. And then when you twist it, it will just be a little bit more parchment to twist, but you just can pinch your fingers together and twist it like that, and then we'll be good. Then twist the other side. And then these are ready to go in the oven. So these will go in the oven for like 15 minutes at 400. So I'm gonna go crank the oven up and pop these in for 15 minutes, okay? Oh, I think I forgot the last lemon bit in one of them, but that's okay. See, we all make mistakes. Still gonna taste delicious. Oh, and the way you want to bake these are, don't they look so cute? So the way you want to bake them, they're not obviously not going to bake on this plate, but just any sort of baking dish, Pyrex that has some sort of ledge to catch if any of the liquid does happen to leak out, but it shouldn't. And then the fish steams in here, and then you open it and have a little present, which is your dinner. All right, so these are going to go in the oven, and then we'll come back and form our galettes. So I just wanted to show you how our carrots are doing. They are doing lovely. And then I want to now, at this point, just sprinkle them with some sesame seeds. And then I'm going to put them in the oven for a few more minutes. And you can do this at the beginning too, but I just didn't want the sesame seeds to get so toasted. But these are almost done. And then now is the point at which I will sprinkle some sea salt over them, over the carrots, because they probably won't be in the oven for that much longer. And if they steam a little bit, it's okay because they already got a little crispy. So we want them to steam on the inside. And then I'll give you a little close up of how this looks, but it looks beautiful. All right, so the dough is chilled a little bit. I'm gonna flip my cutting board back over, and then I'm going to put some flour on it and spread it all around so that our galettes don't stick. I'm gonna make 2 small ones because I think they will fit nicely. I make 2. And what we want to do is, I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm just going to divide this in 2 pieces. Yeah, I think that'll be plenty. And then I'm going to roll it out as best as I can and flatten it out. And the good way to do that is, if you have flour on your board, is you just press it and keep flipping it. Then you might need to have more flour, but just press and flip. And I'm just making it so that it's pretty thin, but not too thin. So we don't want it to fall apart. I'm just getting a nice little so this is going to be, I think that is good. I'm going to brush off any excess flour. Just give it one more flip. Oops. All right, so I have a nice organic looking circle, and then I'm going to spoon some of this apple mixture into the center. And you want it like, all right, that is good. So it's pretty in the center. And then we're gonna fold up the sides. And this, and fold up and pinch the sides. So this is our galette, guys. Very, oh, leaking. Very, very simple. And it looks super fancy, like you went to pastry school, but really you just did one of Nonna Gaby's online classes and learned how to make an apple galette. And I'm going to just shift this baking sheet over because I don't want to have any issues transferring it, but let's see if I can pick it up. You might need a spatula to do this, but let's see if I can do it. Don't break them. See, it was good. Okay. So I have one down. I need one more to go. I think I need to dry off my cutting board and put some more flour on it because some of my orange juice leaked out. All right. Number 2. Put some more flour on it, get it nice and dry. And then we're going to work on our second one. All right. So again, just flatten, flip, flatten, flip. And if you have a rolling pin, you can roll it out into a nicer, but it doesn't matter because when you flip it, when you pin it all up, it takes this organic shape anyway. Ooh, this one looks more like a circle. I'm going to shake any excess flour off and then start adding my apples. Oops. I may have went a little crazy with the apples on that one, so maybe I'll put a little less in this one. And you can do this with any other fruit. You can even make a savory galette. I would just omit the sugar from the dough. And another cool thing, which I had the idea of doing, but I did not end up doing for this recipe, was that you can fold any herbs into the dough. So like rosemary would be great in the crust. Would be a great Thanksgiving dessert. Or even thyme in the crust, apple thyme. That is always very nice. All righty, I'm gonna shift this over. Ooh, that one made it much nicer. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get rid of this excess flour so I don't have a giant mess to clean up later. Okay, great. And then we're gonna make our egg wash, which is just an egg cracked into here and some water. And then we're gonna whisk that up. I'm gonna show you something very non-ideal. So like, I don't have a brush. If you have a pastry brush, that's awesome. But I'm gonna show you what to do if you don't have one and you're like me. So what you're gonna do is, I'm just cleaning up this area. You're gonna grab a paper towel and you're gonna pinch it at one end. And then you have like a pseudo brush. So I'm gonna just dip the end of my paper towel in here and then just brush the top of the pastry with some of the egg wash. And you just want to get it so that it's wet. I have a lot of like floury bits, so just brush it off. Perfect. And then we'll move on to this other one. This will give it a nice toasty glow. And if you're using spelt flour, it'll be a little darker. But if you're using regular flour or gluten-free flour, the egg wash will give it a nice golden color. So it'll look nice and crispy. You know what I'll do, since I was talking about the time and now I'm thinking about it more. Let me clean that off. So it's not a perfect science with the paper towel, so you don't want it to get too eggy. But then we are going to sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon sugar. So I have some sugar, and just sprinkle that on the crust, and in the middle, and then on the crust, and in the middle, and then the same with the cinnamon, which is over here. And I'm just going to put it, normally I would make this mixture in a bowl, but I don't have a bowl handy, so I'm just making the most of it. And then cinnamon, sugar, and the rest in the middle. Perfect. And these are ready to go in the oven. But since I got thinking about time, I'm going to add a few thyme leaves to the center. I think that'll make it taste yummy. Give it a nice little flavor. So a few thyme leaves for this one. Oops. And then a few for the other galette. And I also just like the word galette because it sounds fun. So in all this time, I think our carrots are finally done. And our eggplant parmesan is also probably done too. I smell everything. So I'm going to put these in the oven. We're going to do a little exchange, and then I'm going to see what else is in there that I can show you. Okay, so the eggplant parmesan and the carrots are done, but I'm just going to clear off the table and set up some hot plates. So everything is ready to go, and then our fish and our galettes just need a few more minutes because the galettes actually don't take that long. So we're going to clear some things, and then I'll bring everything out in a second. So first up is the carrot fries, and some of them, since I cut them small, got a little charred on the ends, but I personally love them like that. And then we have our gorgeous eggplant parm, and it looks very yummy and smells very yummy too. So I'm going to taste one of the carrot fries. I love roasted carrots. And the sesame oil with the toasted sesame tastes really good. New way to have root vegetables. So our fish needs a few more minutes. I think it's been in for 10. I'm going to go check on it. And then our galettes need some more time. They need at least 15 minutes. But they look gorgeous and delicious. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you about some exciting stuff happening in Nonna land. So as it's fall, I've put together a fall meal plan that will be available in the next week. So if you're on my email list or if you register for this class, you'll definitely, if you register for this class, you'll look at a promotion for half off for the meal plan. And if you are on my email list, which I guess if you're in this class, you probably are, you'll get an announcement about when it drops. But once I send out the recording and for this class, you'll get a promotion for half off the meal plan, which is exciting. And it's the same as the summer meal plan. So it's about 30 recipes designed to make your life easier with meal planning and menu planning. And there's a schedule for each week and a shopping list for each week. So you guys don't have to worry or think about what you're making for dinner. It's just there for you. And then you do it. And then we'll have our own online Facebook community to communicate. Oh, this eggplant parmesan. And so this eggplant parmesan is in the recipe, in the meal plan, and also these fries are, and so is the parchment fish. So you already got a little glimpse of the quick, fun, and easy recipes in the meal plan. And I'm going to go check on the fish and bring it up. So I just brought one out on a small plate because I'm running out of hot plates. But now you can just open it like this, and then you have the lovely little package, and you see the steam coming out, and it smells really delicious. I'm going to taste a little piece from the end. Like the tartness and the brininess from the capers and the olives. And then if you have any other veggies you want to put in there, they would also get those. Oh, delicious flavors. So that was really tasty, the fish. Can't wait to eat more of those. Can't wait to dig into this. This is a little more complicated to taste, but I can taste, I guess, part of the sauce with some of the cheese. Because I have to cut into this. Already amazing. What could be bad? Cheese sauce, eggplant. But if you're not an eggplant fan, zucchini is a really, really good alternative. And then I will post a photo and then I'll post a photo of the apple galettes when they come out of the oven. I'm sure they're delicious. And what could be bad? We put all the most amazing things in it. Um, but yeah, thank you for being part of back to school essentials, even though we're a little late to be back to school. But, fall is here. And it feels like, especially in the last week, that it already like started getting colder. Things are moving faster. I know so many people I know are just go, go, go. So these recipes could not come at a better time for me. So I hope that they are amazing for you as well. Thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you in the future. And I hope you check out the fall meal plan when it drops. And I will see you guys soon. And as always, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Nonna Gaby. And then my website is nonnagaby.com. And I can't wait to get cooking with you guys again. Thank you so much.